callers could help us with some of this stuff. I can't remember who does some of these.
Bruce, Lil Whitney, Mariah. That's on the list for
Mariah
tomorrow.
was the All I Want for Christmas, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The one she botched on the tree lighting ceremony.
That version we probably wouldn't reply.
Terrible. Dave Bloomfield, the fan. What's going on, Dave?
Mark, how you doing? Kim, how you doing?
Dave.
Happy holidays.
Happy
I got
holidays,
one for
Dave.
you. Santa Claus is coming to town by the boss.
That's a good one. That is a good one. Absolutely.
Really? Okay, let me make a statement. I'm gonna hang up and I'm gonna see what you guys have to say, okay? Ogletree should have been thrown out of the game and fined.
Oh, I agree. He should have been thrown out of the game.
Yeah.
And fined.
Well, yeah, but they don't fine them. I mean, he'll be fined this week.
Right.
Yes.
And he should be suspended too, because I mean, come on, I
think he should have been thrown out of the game.
I think he should have been thrown out of the game. I don't know about the suspension. I don't think he should have been suspended, but thrown out of the game and fined this week. A lot of those guys are obviously going to be fined. Ogletree will be fined. He'd be stunned if he wasn't by the National Football League.
I think they'll all be fined.
Right. So I don't think he should have been suspended, but Ogletree is the one that obviously started because he's tackling the guy 5 yards out of bounds.
All right. Let me make two quick comments, okay? On Jake Cutler, okay? And Kim, you could comment on this too. He reminds me of Kyle Farnsworth. He's got a great arm, but I mean, he's not a decent quarterback whatsoever. He can't win the big game. And lastly, you know, the Giants played, I think, the best game. They had the running game going. They had the offensive line going. They had the receivers going. And can you imagine when Cruz comes back? Can you imagine what a team that we're going to have next year? And I'm going to hang up. I wish you guys a happy holiday, happy New Year.
You too, Dave. Thanks so much for the call. Yeah, we did talk about some of that earlier in the show. There is that temptation. Now, Ben McAdoo says he doesn't do it. Eli says that he does. He said that with Mike. You know, he does think about put Victor in this offense and see what they could do. Victor, of course, has to be healthy first and make sure he's healthy and that sort of thing. I think there is that temptation to do.
No
just
doubt.
Natural temptation
well,
to do.
Now you're looking ahead because, you know, they've clicked McAdoo's offense. Beckham has taken the NFL by storm about the potential and possibilities moving forward. They brought up Cutler. I think the comparison with Cutler is Jeff George. Jeff George had the golden arm, had the quick release, the Illinois product, had multiple opportunities in the National Football League. It was always the next guy that was going to get through to Jeff George. It's always the next guy, the next guy, the next guy. I think that is the comparison when you look at Jay Cutler. No one doubts his arm strength, the ability to cut through the wind. Something's amiss, something's awry. It's between the ears. It doesn't all come together. You're tantalized by his natural throwing ability. It's just not a winning product or winning product at the end of the day.
I think you just made a great point about getting through to him, and that's coaching, you know, and that's something that Jay Cutler, there's a body language issue with him. Yep. I mean, there just is. There's been issues, you know, since the knee injury in the playoff game when all the players got on board, got to be out there, whatever, which is unfair because you don't know what the injury actually is. And I do think it was an MCL. And those can have so many different degrees of return time and severity and everything else. And people have different pain thresholds. I mean, they just do. Jay Cutler, he certainly is not a bad quarterback, though. I mean, his numbers this season, the 18 interceptions, I believe. Is it 18 interceptions? I believe it is. And he's also fumbled like 12 times. I mean, he has definitely had issues. And talk about teams where you look at the talent and say it should be better. That offense is pretty talented.
Right.
He's, you know, if he were to get traded, I don't know why they'd release him, but if he were to get traded, he's not going to go to an offense with better receivers, you would not think.
No, he's certainly not going to get that. Say if he ends in Tennessee.
And different skill players around him, I should say.
Right, with Kendall Wright, Justin Hunter. They're nice players. Hunter coming off the, was it the abdominal injury that he suffered when he had the surgery that ended this season. But no, he's not going to leave. I mean, you got Alshon Jeffrey, you got Brandon Marshall, you got Martellus Bennett, you got Matt Forte. And that offense should wake up and be able to score 3 touchdowns a week.
You know, the caller, I forget, what was his name?
Dave.
Dave also mentioned yesterday, and he mentioned the offensive line. I thought yesterday might have been the finest moment for that offensive line. They did do a great job against J.J. Watt early this season, and a lot of offensive lines aren't saying that this season or ever, pretty much. But I thought yesterday a really nice job by them. And, and then there's the trickle-down effect that isn't so much a mystery.
Right.
They run the ball a little bit better. Eli has a little more time, hence an 80-yard touchdown to Odell Beckham Jr.
And they're lighting up that Rams secondary like it is Christmas. Massapequa we go. It's Fran. It's the